Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Today we will try to talk for a few minutes only. Question answer will be for many, for longer time. In our last talk, we already had discussed about jhana practice up to fourth jhana stage. After fourth jhana, if you want to practice kasinas, it is very good. Kasinas, if you practice 10 kasinas, you can attain 8 attainments. After you had practiced 8 attainments of kasinas, if you change metta, loving kindness, meditation, karuna, sympathetic, karuna, compassion, mudita, appreciative joy or sympathetic joy, ubhagga, equanimity, 4 sublime abilities, it is very good, very easy. These are taught by Buddha. If you have enough confidence in the Buddha, then you should also have enough confidence in the Buddha's Dhamma. It is very important for Buddhists to have enough confidence in Buddha, in Dhamma, and Sangha. If you attain jhanas, then we can say you have purification of mind, citta visuddhi. Because that jhana can temporarily remove 5 hindrances for a long time. But then purification of mind, citta visuddhi. You should practice to attain ditthi visuddhi, purification of view. What is purification of view? Clear understanding of ultimate materiality and ultimate mentality, or analyzing of ultimate materiality and ultimate mentality, or defining ultimate materiality and ultimate mentality. Nama Rupa Pratcheda Jnana. The knowledge of defining ultimate materiality and mentality is called Ditthi Visuddhi, the purification of mind. According to Buddha's teaching, purification of view means you are understanding free from wrong view, wrong perception. What is wrong view? Wrong view of personality or personality wrong view. Sakkaya Ditthi. What is Sakkaya Ditthi? They translate Sakkaya Ditthi as personality wrong view. Sakkaya means 5 aggregates. Ditthi means wrong understanding. If we analyze our body, there are only ultimate materiality and mentality. They arise as a group. So they are called Nama Kaya and Rupa Kaya, a group of materiality and a group of mentality. They cannot arise separately one by one. They always arise as a group. For example, if you practice 4 elements meditation systematically, then you will see our body is composed with small particles called kalabas. If you analyze these kalabas, in each kalaba there are 8 types of materiality, or 9 types of materiality, or 10 types of materiality, etc. So they arise as a group only. They cannot arise separately. At least 8 types of materiality are necessary within one kalapa. They cannot arise one by one. So they are called Rupa Kaya, group of materiality. In the same way, mentality also arises as a group. They cannot arise separately one by one. At least there must be 8 types of mentality within one mind movement. In some mind movements there may be 34 mentalities. So they arise simultaneously together within one mind movement. They cannot arise one by one within one mind movement. So they are also called Nama Kaya, a group of mentality. If you see this ultimate materiality in mentality by your direct knowledge, then you will also see as soon as they arise, they pass away very, very quickly. So they are a nature impermanent. At that time you will not see I, he or she. Wrong understanding of he, I, she, he or she disappear. This is called personality wrong view. So your right understanding or right view removes personality wrong view. Sagaya Ditti. To attain this right view or purification of view, how you should practice? According to Buddha's teaching, which is mentioned in famous Mahasriprana Sutta, after attaining Anapana meditation up to 4th jhana stage, then you shall continue in this way. Iti ijadawa gaye gayanubasi viharati, bhidawa gaye gayanubasi viharati, ijada bhidawa gaye gayanubasi viharati. Thus, a bhikkhu abides contemplating body as body internally, or he abides contemplating body as body externally, or he abides contemplating both body as body both internally and externally. This is mentioned in Mahasriprana Sutta. So, if you want to practice Samatha Vipassana systematically, you should follow according to Buddha's instruction. After the attaining of 4th jhana, you must practice according to this Buddha's instruction. In this instruction, what is the meaning of body? Body is group. What group? Rupa Kaya, Nama Kaya. Group of materiality and group of mentality. So, if you want to continue Vipassana, this is the first stage. You must try to understand ultimate materiality and ultimate mentality internally and externally both. How you should practice to understand ultimate materiality and ultimate mentality. If you want to understand by your direct knowledge ultimate materiality, there are only 2 ways of practice, only 2 methods. 4 elements meditation in brief way and 4 elements meditation in a wider way or in detail. How you should practice 4 elements meditation? 4 elements meditation in brief way is mentioned in this Mahasriprana Sutta. You should try to understand 4 elements: earth element, water element, fire element, and wind element. What is earth element? Hardness, roughness, heaviness, softness, smoothness, lightness. These 6 characteristics are called earth element. Flowing, cohesion, These two characteristics are called water element. Heat and coldness. These two characteristics are called fire element. Supporting and pushing. These two characteristics are called wind element. Altogether there are 4 elements. As characteristics there are 12 characteristics. Why should we practice 4 elements meditation to understand ultimate materiality? Because for understanding of ultimate materiality, Buddha teach only 2 ways only. 4 elements meditation in brief way and 4 elements meditation in a wider way. So if you want to understand by your direct knowledge the ultimate materiality, you must practice 4 elements meditation in brief way or in a wider way. This is Buddha's instruction. If you do not follow this instruction, then you cannot see kalapas, small particles. Then you cannot analyze these small particles, and then you cannot understand ultimate materiality within one kalapa. If you want to practice 4 elements meditation in a brief way first, then you should try to understand hardness, for example. You should search for hardness in your body. Wherever you pay attention, if you feel hardness, from that point you can begin hardness throughout the body. For example, please touch both teeth. You can feel hardness. From this point you can try to understand hardness throughout the body. If you can understand hardness throughout the body, while walking also please try in the same way. For example, while walking, if you touch your foot on the ground, you can feel hardness. From that point you can try to understand hardness throughout your body. If you cannot discern hardness easily, then you can begin pushing. This is the function of fire element, wind element. For example, when you are breathing in, you can follow up to the center of your head. When you are breathing in, you can feel pushing throughout the path of breath. If you can wait and see in the center of your head, you can see while breathing in, pushing, while breathing out, pushing. From that point you can begin pushing. For example, when you are breathing, your chest is expanding. This is because of pushing. Every movement is because of pushing. Everything move because of pushing. So you can try everywhere pushing throughout the body. If you can feel pushing, then you can go back hardness. Again. Then if you can do pushing and hardness two together, then you will see pushing as well as hardness throughout your body. In the same way, the remaining characteristics also you can begin from the clear point. For example, if you want to understand the softness, please touch with your tongue inside your lower lip. Please relax your lip, then you can feel softness. In the same way, the other characteristics also from clear point you can begin throughout the body. If you can discern these 12 characteristics, then please try these 12 characteristics one by one to understand clearly and quickly. If you can discern within 1 minute these 12 characteristics 2 or 3 rounds, then please try to overview. While you are overviewing, then you should not move your attention from one place to another. As a general, you should focus the whole your body to understand these 12 characteristics only. When you are practicing in this way, when your wisdom faculty becomes sharp, then you will see these 12 characteristics nearly simultaneously. At that time, you should pay attention for group. Seeing hardness, roughness, heaviness, softness, smoothness, lightness, you should pay attention. This is earth element. Seeing, flowing and cohesion, you should pay attention. This is water element. Seeing heat and coldness, you should pay attention. This is fire element. Seeing supporting and pushing, you should pay attention. This is wind element. So, earth element, water element, fire element, wind element. Earth, water, fire, wind. Earth, water, fire, wind. Ki, sui, hua, po. Okay. Okay. When you are practicing 4 elements, if your concentration cannot develop further, then please try every day Anapanasati up to 4th jhana. When your 4th jhana produces strong powerful light, at that time, imagine from 4th jhana, you should discern 4 elements again, or 12 characteristics again. Then please try in the same way to focus the whole body, 12 characteristics, and then please change 4 group. Patavi, earth element, earth, water, fire, wind. In this way, if you practice again and again, your concentration will develop. When your concentration deep enough, then you will not see your body. You will only see 4 elements only. When your concentration becomes deeper and deeper, then you will not see your body. You will see only white body or grey smoking color body only. But in that white body, you should again do some 4 elements, 12 characteristics, and then please concentrate on these 4 elements objects. If you can concentrate further, then slowly when your concentration deep enough, then you will see transparent body like glass or ice block. And that transparent body also again you must take some 4 elements again. And then if you get this 4 elements or 12 characteristics, then please concentrate on these 4 elements objects again. When your concentration deep enough, then this transparent body will break down into pieces or into small particles. But if it is not can break down easily, then you should penetrate to see the space between this transparent body. When you see space akasa, then you will see small particles. When you see small particles, again please analyze these small particles, and then you should try to understand 4 elements in each small particle. This is the beginning stage of understanding ultimate materiality. You can do some 4 elements in each klapa. Then you should try to continue to do some derivative materialities such as color, odor, flavor, nutritive essence, etc. If you get this in each klapa, 4 elements and derivative materialities, then at that time we can say you understand ultimate materiality only. But in detail you must try to practice under the guidance of skillful teacher. It is better. Today let us stop here our Dhamma talk. Then we will continue question answer.
There's a question here from the last Dhamma talk, which says, in this life, we renounce everything and practice very diligently. And this life we attain the highest jhana, and in the bracket it says Arahant. And here there's a point need to be clarified by the Sayadaw. That is from the question it seems that the questioner means the highest jhana is Arahantship. So we need clarification from the Sayadaw. And there's another question which is quite close to this question, so maybe the Sayadaw can answer both questions at the same time. The next question is there a correlationship between jhanas and 4 stages of sainthood.
What is jhana? There are two types of jhana, mundane and supramundane. So, which type of jhana do you make, mundane or supramundane? Is there anyone who asks this question? Mundane jhana or supramundane jhana? Which jhana? Which jhana? Mundane or supramundane? There are two types of jhana, mundane jhana and supramundane jhana. Now we are trying our Dhamma to Anapanasati up to fourth jhana stage. This fourth jhana is only just mundane, not supramundane. But based on this fourth jhana, if you practice vipassana, then your vipassana insight become clear and sharp. Why? That fourth jhana can produce a strong, powerful light. This light is called the light of wisdom. With the assistance of the light of wisdom, if you practice four elements meditation systematically, then you can clearly see ultimate materiality in each kalapa. Because of this reason, Buddha instructs many times to practice samatha. If you may, highest jhana is only mundane, then if you attain mundane highest jhana, you cannot become arahant. Because this is only mundane. But supramundane jhana means, what is supramundane jhana? Supramundane jhana means after discerning ultimate materiality and ultimate mentality, you must continue to discern their causes, or you must try to understand dependent origination. Ultimate materiality and ultimate mentality are called noble truth of suffering, dukkha, sijja, dhamma. The especially five causes, which are ignorance, tanha, craving, upadana, kalinga, sankhara, volitional formation, and karma, karmic force. These five causes are samudaya, sijja, the noble truth of the origin of suffering. These two noble truths are the object of vipassana. You must contemplate them as nature, or dukkha, or anatta. As these two noble truth dhammas are called sankhara formations. These sankhara dhammas are, as soon as they arise, they pass away very, very quickly. So they are nature impermanent. They are always oppressed by rising and passing away, so they are dukkha, suffering. There is no permanent entity, permanent substance in them, so they are anatta, non-self, not atta. If you contemplate in this way, this is called vipassana. When your vipassana insight becomes nijjhava, when you reach up to sankharupaka jnana stage, the knowledge of equanimity towards formations, at that time you can emphasize jhana dhammas. For example, you should practice anapanasati. You should re-establish your jhana, anapanasati. Imagine from jhana you should contemplate jhana dhammas as nature, or dukkha, or anatta. Then you should again re-establish your second jhana concentration. Imagine from second jhana, then you should contemplate second jhana dhammas as nature, dukkha, and anatta. Again, you re-establish your anapanasati jhana concentration. Imagine from that jhana, you should contemplate this jhana dhammas as nature, dukkha, and anatta. Again, you should re-establish your anapanasati jhana concentration. Imagine from anapanasati jhana concentration, you should contemplate this fourth jhana dhammas as nature, dukkha, and anatta. When you are contemplating in this way, when you are contemplating fourth jhana dhammas as anicca, dukkha, anatta, at that time you may realize nibbana by path in fruition knowledge. Again, if you practice in the same way successfully, then you may attain up to rahat stage. When you are realizing nibbana by your rahat path knowledge, after contemplating anapana fourth jhana dhammas as anicca or dukkha or anatta, then your arahant path knowledge is associated with fourth jhana. This is supramundane jhana. That supramundane jhana based on vipassana insight. If you practice vipassana systematically, one day you may attain this highest fourth jhana arahant path knowledge. That arahant path knowledge can destroy all defilements completely without remainder. If you attain your arahant path destroys the defilements completely without remainder. Because of this reason, your karmas, wholesome karmas and unwholesome karmas, no energy to produce this result. They cannot produce new existence, new aggregates after parinibbana. So, if you attain rahat stage, all wholesome karmas and unwholesome karmas also no power to produce new aggregates or new existence after parinibbana. So this is final cessation. If you should try to distinguish mundane jhana and supramundane jhana. Mundane jhana cannot destroy defilements completely without remainder. Only just can remove temporarily only. But supramundane jhana can destroy the defilements completely without remainder. But to attain supramundane jhana, how you should practice? This is very important. In our beginning of Dhamma talk, we mentioned Aswakaya Sutta. Again, I will try to repeat this Sutta again. Because I say that the destruction of the things is for those who sees and knows, not for one who does not know and does not see. Because I say that the destruction of the thing is for one who knows and sees, not for one who does not know and does not see. For one who knows what, for one who sees what, that the destruction of the things comes about. The destruction of the things comes about for one who knows and sees. This is the noble truth of suffering, dukkha satya. For one who knows and sees, this is the noble truth of the origin of suffering, samudaya satya. For one who knows and sees, this is the noble truth of the cessation of suffering, nirodha satya. For one who knows and sees, this is the noble truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. Because it is for one who knows thus, it is for one who sees thus, that the destruction of the things or defilements comes about. So, the destruction of defilements is for one who knows and sees Four Noble Truths in the right way. Without understanding Four Noble Truths, you cannot attain highest jhana or you cannot become arahat. If you cannot become arahat, then you cannot destroy defilements completely without remainder. If you cannot destroy the defilements completely without remainder, then your wholesome karmas and unwholesome karmas will produce new existence, new 5 aggregates after death. So there will be no final cessation. So please remember these facts carefully.
The other question is there a correlationship between, is there any relationship between jhanas and 4 stages of sainthood?
Yes, if they practice jhana, based on jhana, if they practice to understand ultimate materiality and ultimate mentality, there is causal relationship between jhana and sainthood. Because jhana produces a strong powerful light. Because of this reason, with the assistance of that light, if they discern ultimate materiality, ultimate mentality, they can easily understand or clearly understand ultimate materiality and mentality. If they discern dependent origination, they can clearly understand 5 past causes produce present 5 results or 5 aggregates, 5 clinging aggregates. Because of the rising of 5 past causes, present 5 aggregates rise. Because of the rising of 5 present causes, future 5 aggregates rise. In this way, they can clearly understand and easily understand. This is the causal relationship between Dukkha Sajja Dhamma and Samudaya Sajja Dhamma. Based on this jhana dhammas, in every sitting, if they contemplate these formations as anicca, dukkha, anatta, their wisdom faculty also becomes sharp because of the concentration. Samahito yatha buddha janati pasati. One who has enough concentration, the concentrated mind can understand the dhammas as they really are. So because of this reason, if they practice systematically in this way, when their insight vipassana becomes mature, one day they may realize Nibbana. Nibbana is Nirodha Sajja, the complete cessation of suffering. Then path knowledge which realizes Nibbana associated with 8 noble eightfold path. This noble eightfold path which are associated with path knowledge is called the noble truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. So, based on jhana, if they practice vipassana systematically, one day when they realize Nibbana, they understand 4 noble truths. If they understand 4 noble truths stage by stage, by path and fruition knowledges, then their path and fruition knowledge also may associated with jhana dhammas. Previously we had talked. If they, when they are contemplating for jhana dhammas, at that time also they may realize Nibbana. Or when they are contemplating second jhana dhammas as anicca, dukkha, anatta, at that time also they may realize Nibbana. When they are contemplating that jhana dhammas as anicca, dukkha or anatta, at that time also they may realize Nibbana. When they are contemplating 4th jhana dhammas as anicca, dukkha or anatta, at that time also they may realize Nibbana. This is the causal relationship with 4th stages. Between jhana and 4th stages. But you should not understand jhana dhammas superficially. In 5 jhana there are 34 mental formations. In 2nd jhana there are 32 mental formations. In 3rd jhana and 4th jhana there are 31 mental formations. What are 34? What are 32? What are 31? Please practice practically.
The second question is, what do the terms dry arahant and wet arahant mean? Dry arahant, wet arahant, wet. Yeah.
Sukha, Vipassaka and Samatha Yanika. there are two types of arahats. Arahants. Sokha Vipasaka means who do not practice jhana dhammas, but they practice up to excess concentration stage, not jhana stage. For example, if they want to practice vipassana directly, they should first practice 4 elements meditation. If you practice 4 elements meditation, if you see kalapas, and if you can discern 4 elements in each kalapa, this is the last stage of samatha as well as beginning stage of vipassana. So again they continue to discern derivative rupas such as color, odor, flavor, nutritive essence, etc. After discerning ultimate materiality, they again discern ultimate mentality. Then they discern dependent origination. Ultimate materiality and ultimate mentality are dukkha sacca dhammas, the noble truth of suffering. Dependent origination is the noble truth of the origin of suffering, samudaya sacca dhamma. So they already understand 2 noble truths. These 2 noble truths are called sankhara formations because they have their own respective cause. Their cause produce these formations, so they are called sankhara formations. You must contemplate these formations as anicca, dukkha, anatta systematically according to vipassana insight knowledge stages. One day when your insight becomes mature, you may realize nibbana. That nibbana is called the cessation of suffering, noble truth of the cessation of suffering, nirodha sacca. The path knowledge which realizes nibbana is associated with noble eightfold path. These noble eightfold paths are called the noble truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. So they understand 4 noble truths, stage by stage. Stage by stage means up to arhat stage. So if they understand 4 noble truths up to arhat stage, such type of arahats are called sokha vipasaka arahats, drying vipasaka arahats. Drying means there is no jhana dhammas. They practice pure vipassana only. So such type of arahats are called sokha vipasaka persons or sokha vipasaka arahats, drying vipasaka arahats. But the other arahats, they practice jhana dhammas. Based on jhana dhammas, they practice systematically vipassana up to arhat stage. So they are called samatha yanika arahats, but they translate wet. There is the stickiness of jhana.
The third question is, do I have to go through different jhana before doing vipassana meditation? Can I go straight to vipassana without going through jhana stages? I think this answer.
Same meaning.
The 4th question is, Sadhu, you said that after we emerge from the jhana, after emerging from jhana, we have to discern bhanga state and the 5 jhana factors. How do we know that what we see in our heart is bhanga and the jhana factors? Do we naturally know when we see them? How do we know that what we see is bhanga, what we see is bhanga and the 5 jhana factors?
What is this? Please try to answer. What is this? This is finger. How do you know this is finger? Say. If you have the light of wisdom because of jhana, if you pay attention inside you, interior of your heart, you can see these 5 jhana factors. How do you see? How we can see? How do you see this one? So, please have enough confidence to the Buddha's teaching. If you practice systematically according to Buddha's teaching, then you can see. Because there is one important sutta called Anubhada Sutta. That sutta is taught because of Venerable Sariputta. Sariputta is not famous at the beginning stage of our Buddha's dispensation. But Venerable Mahamoggallana are very famous because he go to Deva world, come back. Which type of devas are such and such wholesome dhammas accumulated in previous life. So they became devas. Again he visit to hell. Such and such persons go to the hell because of such and such unwholesome dhammas which they had accumulated as a human being. In this way he trying to murder, so he became popular. But Venerable Sariputta is not like that. So Buddha is waiting for opportunity to preach this sutta. One day he got opportunity because the listeners are the persons who had a lot of pious faith to the Venerable Sariputta. So at that time Buddha taught this sutta. In that sutta, Venerable Sariputta entered into 5 jhana. Emerging from 5 jhana, he contemplates 5 jhana dhammas one by one as anicca, dukkha, anatta. But if you cannot see Anapanna Nimitta, Patibhaga Nimitta, and then if you cannot discern Bhoga, then how you can understand jhana factors without seeing these 2 dhammas? Anapanna Patibhaga Nimitta and Bhoga Maindo. What is Bhoga Maindo? You do not understand. What is Anapanna Patibhaga Nimitta? You do not understand. Without understanding by imagination, if you ask such type of question, how do you see this thing? Say.
The 5th question, Bhante, for keen means serious, for serious practitioner, is the application of Abhidhamma relevant for meditation practice? If so, so far has the tool of Patthana been applied to Satipatthana meditation? Most grateful for your sharing and kind advice on practical aspects. Thank you, Bhante. What he asks is Abhidhamma something practical? Is it relevant to our meditation practice? The Abhidhamma knowledge. Because some people think that it is not necessary to study Abhidhamma. You can just meditate.
Maybe there are 2 types of persons who first try to understand Abhidhamma thoroughly, then they practice practically. But some meditators, they go together, learning and practical knowledge together. For example, hardness. This is earth element. How do you discern hardness? Please buy both tea. Okay. Then please try to see hardness throughout the body. So, in this way, if we teach, if you can discern hardness throughout the body, it is enough. This is, we can say, learning as well as practical knowledge. Learning knowledge as well as practical knowledge. Then, roughness. How you should try to discern roughness? We teach one by one. If you can discern these 28 types of rupas, 28 types of materiality, one by one, then it is okay. So theory and practical we usually teach together. But for some meditators, first they study Abhidhamma as well as Visuddhimagga, etc. The path of purification, etc. It is also good. Good means they have enough confidence. how I must practice. If I want to practice Vipassana, how I should practice, they have enough competence. So at that time, with enough competence, if they practice practically under the guidance of teacher, it is also very good. So both are good. So if you want to learn Abhidhamma, at least 28 types of rupa, 52 types of mentality, cetasikas, different types of chaita, consciousness. And then they are cognitive process. 6 types of cognitive process only. And then wholesome dhammas, unwholesome dhammas, etc. Then it is also good. After that, if you understand this nama rupa one-lining knowledge, then if you practice practically, it is also good. No problem. Better.
The 6th question is, what are the main differences between practicing to realize Arhatship and Bodhisattva?
Bodhisattvas, they must fulfill 10 paramis at least 4 incalculable aeons and 100,000. 4 incalculable aeons and 100,000 aeons. But arhats are not necessary to fulfill such a long time, 10 paramis. They must fulfill 2 paramis. Number 1 is adhikara. Number 2 is chanda. What is adhikara? What is chanda? Chanda is strong desire to attain arhatship. Do you want to become arhat? Do you want? If you want to become arhat, can you renounce your household life? Can you renounce? If you have no strong desire, how you can attain arhatship? This is very important. If he is like Venerable Sariputta, they can renounce their household life. If they are sure to attain arhatship, they can easily renounce. They do not see anything. Only they see arhatship only. In the same way, you should have enough strong desire. This is important. But this desire alone not enough. You must have enough adhikara. What is adhikara? Adhikara means charana parami and vijja parami. These 2 types of paramis are necessary for savakas, disciples of the Buddha. There are 15 charana dhammas and 8 vijja dhammas. Among 8 vijja dhammas, vipassana insight is important, others are not so important for attaining arhatship. But there are 15 charana dhammas, charana paramis. These are very important. I will explain one by one. So there are 50 charana dhammas. Charana dhammas are number 1 is purification of bhaju. If you become bhikkhu, then bhikkhu sila is necessary. If you are lay devotee, then at least 5 precepts are necessary. If you can try, then 8 precepts, 10 precepts, it is good, no problem. So purification of bhaju is necessary. This is number 1. Number 2 is guarding, controlling faculties. How you should try to guard your faculties? You must practice samatha or vipassana. When you are practicing samatha, you must always keep your mind in your meditation object. When you are practicing vipassana, you must always keep your mind in your vipassana meditation object. So this is, at the time only you can cut your faculties. Through faculties not to come, not to visit to your mind defilements. You must protect these defilements. Number 3 is Bhojani Madhinyuta. You must try to understand your food. How you should try to understand your food? You should try to understand your situation. If you eat a lot of unsuitable food, then you cannot meditate well. Is it true? So you should try to understand your situation while you are taking food. If you do not take enough food, at that time also you cannot meditate because you are very weak. So you cannot meditate. So you should try to understand your situation while you are taking your food. The number 4 is Jagriya Nuyoga. Jagriya Nuyoga means within 24 hours you should try to sleep about 4 hours only. The remaining 20 hours you must practice diligently, continuously. This is called Jagriya Nuyoga. If you want to become Arahant, you must try. You should not smile. No? Another one is Saddha Saddhama, 7 noble dhammas. What are 7 noble dhammas? Number 1 is Saddha, confidence. You should have enough confidence in Buddha, in Dhamma and Sangha. You should have enough confidence in 3 trainings: the training of morality, the training of concentration, the training of wisdom. You should have enough confidence in past 5 aggregates. You should have enough confidence in future 5 aggregates. You should have enough confidence in both past 5 aggregates as well as in future 5 aggregates. Then you should have enough confidence depending origination. Such type of saddha confidence is necessary when you are practicing meditation. Number 2 is sati, mindfulness. Mindfulness on your meditation object is very important. If you have no mindfulness, then concentration cannot follow after your mindfulness. When your mindfulness becomes powerful one, then concentration will follow after mindfulness. Then number 3 is hiri, shame of wrongdoing, shame of unwholesome dhammas. Number 4 is odabba, dread of wrongdoing or dread of unwholesome dhammas. These dread and shame and dread are 2 fundamental causes for purification of your virtue as well as for purification of your mind, Sila Visuddhi and Citta Visuddhi. Then another one, number 5 is Bhusuddha. There are 2 types of Bhusuddha: Pariyatti Bhusuddha, learning knowledge, and Patipatti Bhusuddha, Pativeda Bhusuddha, penetrating knowledge. What are the learning knowledge and penetrating knowledge? First, you must try to learn to understand the noble truth of suffering and the noble truth of the origin of suffering. These 2 noble truths. After learning these 2 noble truths, you must practice practically to understand by your direct knowledge these 2 noble truths. If you understand these 2 noble truths by learning knowledge, such type of Bhusuddha is called Pariyatti Bhusuddha. If you try to understand these 2 noble truths by your direct knowledge, such type of understanding is called Pativeda Bhusuddha, penetrating knowledge. Then number 6 is Viriya, effort. You should have enough effort to remove or to destroy unwholesome dhammas and to fulfill wholesome dhammas. Such type of effort is necessary if you want to accept unwholesome dhammas. And if you don't want to fulfill wholesome dhammas, how you can attain rahasya? If you want to go back to your home, what? Are you accumulating wholesome dhamma or unwholesome dhamma? So, if you want to arahat, then you should not go back to your home, you should go to park. Then, another number 7 is Panya, wisdom, faculty. The noble truth of suffering and the noble truth of the origin of suffering, these two noble truth dhammas are called sankhara, formations. You must contemplate these formations as anicca, dukkha, anatta. If you understand the impermanent nature, suffering nature and non-self nature of these formations, such type of wisdom faculty is called wisdom in this case, vipassana insight. So that vipassana insight is called wisdom faculty. So altogether there are 7 noble dhammas. I will repeat again. Number 1, saddha, confidence. Number 2, sati, mindfulness. Number 3, shame of wrongdoing or unwholesome dhammas. Number 4, dread of wrongdoing and unwholesome dhammas. Dread of unwholesome dhammas. Number 5, learning knowledge of noble truth of suffering and noble truth of the origin of suffering, as well as practical knowledge of these two noble truths. Number 6 is Viriya, effort. To remove unwholesome dhammas and to fulfill wholesome dhammas. Number 7 is wisdom faculty, insight, knowledge. Altogether 7 noble dhammas. So you should note in these 7 noble dhammas, vipassana, insight, knowledge also include. Please remember. But in some cases, not only vipassana insight, but knowledge also include in this wisdom faculty. Then another 4 is Phajjana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. These 4 jhana dhammas are also called charana dhamma. So altogether there are 15 charana dhammas. They translate charana as contact. Whether it is true or not, I don't know. Charana is better. So these charana dhammas are necessary for attaining rahasya for one. Then another is vijja, wisdom. Among 8 vijja, vipassana insight is very important for attaining rahasya. So in vijja side there is also vipassana. In charana side there is also vipassana. What is the difference between these two? I will explain this with one example. In Samoha Vinyodhani commentary, Isabella of Delusion commentary, it is mentioned that charana is like foot. If you have feet, then you can go anywhere. Is it true? Yes, in the same way, charana is like food. What is the meaning? The meaning is charana dhammas can produce to be reborn in good existence, new existence. Vijja is like eye. If you have eye, then you can see anything which is visible object. In the same way, wisdom faculty is like I. It can penetrate ultimate materiality, ultimate mentality, and their causes as nature dukkha anatta. So wisdom faculty, vijja is like I. Physical I, like physical I. So, what is the meaning? If you accumulate these charana dhammas as well as vijja dhammas for realization of nibbana or for attaining arhatship, then this charana dhammas will send you to be reborn in one of existence. In that existence, you can meet with Buddhas, Dhammas, Sanghas, etc. When you meet this Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, after listening Dhamma talk, you can penetrate Four Noble Truths very quickly. So, Charana Dhamma sent to new existence. Vijja Dhamma, because of Vijja Dhamma, you can penetrate Four Noble Truths very quickly. So they do both functions. So according to this explanation, you may understand Vipassana is both sides, Charana as well as Vijja. What is the difference between Charana Vipassana and Vijja Vipassana? Charana Vipassana knowledge can produce to be reborn in new existence. This is mentioned in Patisambhida Magga. In Patisambhida Magga Pali text, it is mentioned even Sankharupaka Jnana also can produce new existence. How? While meditating, one day when your insight becomes mature, you may attain Sankharupaka Jnana stage, the knowledge of equanimity towards formations. At that time, you have a lot of pity, joy, or rapturous mind, and as well as you have very, very subtle attachment to your Sankharupaka Jnana knowledge, the knowledge of equanimity towards formations. Such attachment is the supporting cause for Sankharupaka Jnana to produce new existence. Because of this reason, if Sankharupaka Jnana produces new existence, then it becomes Charana. But in that new existence, while he is listening Dhamma, he can easily penetrate Four Noble Truths. So because of this reason, it also becomes Vijja. Both sides. So how long you should fulfill this Charana Parami and Vijja Parami to attain arhatship. Pobheva Edrehiva Sankara Samasana Vina Patisambhida Namanati. In previous life, also you had already contemplated these Sankhara Dhammas as anicca, dukkha, anatta. As well as in this very life also, you had already contemplated these Sankhara Dhammas as anicca, dukkha, anatta. Both are necessary. So, how many previous life you should accumulate this Charana Parami and Vijja Parami? There is one famous story you may already heard, Sicaka Paribhajaka. In time of Buddha, he discussed with Buddha about five aggregates. Buddha explains him five aggregates are anicca, dukkha, and anatta. He argued five aggregates are atta. Why? At that time his parami is not yet mature. He cannot penetrate five aggregates are anatta. But when he is discussing with Buddha, slowly he understands five aggregates are anatta. This is his Charana seed as well as Vijja seed. Charana Parami as well as Vijja Parami. Because of this Parami, between 200 and 300 years after Pranibana of our Buddha, in Sri Lanka he became a famous Arhat. So, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, within 2 or 3 or 4 lives, to fulfill Parami is necessary. But if you had already practiced Vipassana in previous Buddha's dispensation, and if you had already contemplated these Sankhara Dhammas as Anicca, Dukkha and Anatta, it is very good. So this is necessary. How long we cannot say exactly, but Charana Parami in Vijja Parami is necessary. You must fulfill Charana Parami in Vijja Parami in previous life or in this very life both. Other than only you can attain Rahatship. Today let us stop here. Tomorrow we will continue another question answers. Sharing merit. Idame Bonya Asavakya Mahahodu Idame Bonya Nibbana Sat Pachayo Hodu Idame Bonya Sabha Sadhana Pajima Tisavi Mesama Punya Baga Labandu Sa